Why not?
Talk about.
Why not talk about?
Talk about money.
Hey everyone, we are back and we are talking about money this week. You're listening to Why Not, which is a casual conversation between friends who are just naturally curious about everything that goes around in the world. And we are not experts, not all of us anyway, but when we need an expert, we call them in. So, I'm Nari, and I'm joined by
Lina and Isaac.
I'm Isaac, yes. And today is one of those need to have an expert days.
Yes, definitely.
So we'd like to introduce to our studio, Bruce. How you doing, Bruce?
Hi, everyone. Happy holidays. I'm Bruce Han. I guess I'm the finance expert. I've been working for 31 years and 6 months now across all the asset classes. So I would rather much talk about Blackpink or Mamamoo, but today we're going to talk about money.
I mean, we could
money.
Money!
Oh, Bruce is fun.
Nice.
I'm sorry, did you say 31 years in the finance sector?
And 6 months.
Wow.
And 6 months.
Yeah.
That's very important.
I think so.
Okay, so today, if you haven't guessed already, money is the key topic. And what is our leading question, Bruce?
Now, what in the world is going on at the Federal Reserve Bank in the U.S.? What's quantitative easing? What's tapering? Mm-hmm. It's also confusing, right? Mm-hmm. Let's make some sense of this.
This is Arirang Radio.
And investors are watching to see when the Federal Reserve will start winding down its asset purchases, which have helped the American economy through the pandemic. Reports say...
Moving on to other news, it has emerged that policymakers at the Federal Reserve broadly agreed last month that the Fed should begin reducing its enormous bond buying program and start tapering from as soon as mid-November.
The minutes of the Federal Open Market Committee's September meeting were released Wednesday, showing they agreed a gradual tapering process that concludes around the middle of 2022 would be appropriate.
I hear a whole bunch of words, but I don't understand all the terms.
Relax.
Okay.
This is fun. So
It's fun.
It's fun.
You know, Bruce, every morning we throw around a lot of these econ jargon thinking yes, our listeners completely understand. Mm-hmm. We are not on the same page.
Okay. Let's make it easy. So everyone's talking about this right now, right? So they say quantitative easing. Mm-hmm. So let's stick to just QE to make it simple.
Oh, that's much easier.
Yeah. So basically quantitative easing or QE means that the central bank, so in the US, it's Federal Reserve Bank. In Korea, it's the Bank of Korea. They've been buying lots of government bonds or treasuries or corporate bonds and even stocks. And the simple decision triggers powerful outcomes. The amount of money circulating in the economy increases, and this helps interest rates to go lower. And when this happens, it lowers the cost of borrowing, which spurs economic growth. So people can go out and buy apartments. Not me. I don't have any money, but they can.
I was going to say, where can we buy an apartment?
Not in Seoul.
Maybe you guys, but anyway, so you could open your own stores or restaurants, right? And also because interest rates are falling, it's lower, people can buy stocks. They switch. They need to make more money. So that makes the stock market go higher. So confidence in the economy and society grows. Businesses and consumers borrow money. They invest in the stock market, hire more employees, and spend more money. And all this stimulates the economy. That's a good thing, right?
I think so.
But there's a downside to this. Too much QE causes inflation. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And that's a big problem right now. And so tapering is going to take place.
Ooh, wait, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So back to QE, starting with where the government or where central banks buy government bonds.
Yes.
Before they do that, who is normally buying these government bonds?
Institutional investors.
Okay.
So some of the biggest buyers of U.S. treasuries are like China, even Korea, Bank of Korea. They have a huge U.S. treasury position, and even Japan, Taiwan. So the Asian countries are some of the biggest holders of U.S. treasuries.
So are they not buying right now? Is that why the Fed is buying it?
They are buying it, but the Fed, to lower interest rates, they're pushing the process harder. We're pushing it harder. So they bought more to drive down the interest rates.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have a question.
Yes.
So is QE the same thing as printing money? Because I've seen those memes where like
Pretty much.
people are talking about printing money, like
Pretty much.
Making
That's
it
true.
rain.
That's right. So if you look at 2020 in the U.S., COVID money was $1.9 trillion. That represented 20% of all the U.S. dollars circulating in the economy in 2020.
Wow.
So we're at the end of 2021, so we don't know the numbers yet. But that shows you why there's so much inflation now. It's a lot of money chasing a lot of things. Yeah.
But it's not exactly the same thing, right? I mean, the government could easily just print more money, but why do they actually go into QE then? What's the benefits of, investing back with tax money, I assume, right?
Well, good question. So what's going on is that the government needs to do financing, right?
Right.
So they need to issue bonds, and they need to make sure that people show up to buy bonds, right? And so there's a lot of political things going on right now. So whereas in the past they were relying on China to do so, so just to fill the gap, maybe they're doing this.
Yeah, because I think, Lina, that is a good question, because people most people probably know that when they do see those memes of printing money, it's not actually they're printing all this money. But I've been asked that too. Like I've been asked by a friend, like, so how much money are they actually printing? And I'm like, oh well, they're not actually printing money. So this is like where the normal people, where the average person, they have that kind of like they really don't know.
Right.
Yeah, so thank you for that answer. That kind of like clears everything up.
It's easy for the U.S. government to do so because the U.S. Treasury is the only institution that can print U.S. dollars. Right? You can do that, but you're going to get arrested. It's called forgery. Right? It's called forgery. You can't do that. I can't do that. It's only the Treasury that can do that. Right? Yes. And so technically, the U.S. bond market, Treasury market, is the most perfect market in the world. It cannot go bankrupt. It can't go belly up because they just print more money.
You can't go bankrupt, but money's value can depreciate significantly.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
I mean, that's the basis of inflation and why consumer prices are a concern. And I do wonder because last year, borrowing rates in Korea too, to borrow money was cheaper essentially, right?
That's right.
Which meant that people are investing more, and that's good. If you made money investing in stocks, that's a good thing. But I do wonder because for those who borrowed money, they didn't have to invest in something like homes in Korea, for example. Next year, they're going to have to, maybe pay more to just be able to afford the same house, essentially, right?
That's right. The thing that bothers me a little bit that I'm concerned about is that a lot of people borrowed money to pay off their debts or to buy cryptocurrency,
that too, yeah.
digital assets, or stocks, especially the younger generation. So if you look at the statistics coming out of the securities companies right now, the people in their 20s and 30s are the ones who are doing all this. So if you look at, I don't know if your viewers are familiar with like Hyundai department store, where they sell high brand things. Yeah. They recorded, I think, $1 billion worth of sales this year. Wow. Most of them are in their 20s. They're catering to their 20s and 30s right now. Right?
Where are they getting all this money?
I was going to say, like, are they rich or they're just borrowing? They're literally just going into debt?
Maybe rich mommies and daddies.
Cards, like, moms and dads. They're just running up credit card debts?
Moms and dads. The thing that's really worrisome is that the IMF did a survey. Yeah. The people young people ranging from 18 to 29, their first asset class purchase is cryptocurrency. But they're doing it with student loans or credit card or just going into debt. So that's the really worrisome. 18 to 29.
Isn't that like rule number one when you go into investing? You don't invest in money that you don't necessarily have. If you're an investor, a single investor, that is just, going solo.
I think in Korea, that shows more maybe fear or desperation among younger people.
Well, they're pretty savvy though. When I didn't have money, I just didn't know how to invest it at all. But like, if they don't have money, but they found a way to invest because they're smart enough or savvy enough to know that that's where.
Isaac, they're savvy. Tapering actually is the complete opposite of QE. Okay, so what's going on is that the Fed feels that the economy is strong enough now to roll back the stimulus that they provided. Yep. So the Fed will start to reduce bond purchases by $15 billion a month, and they should be able to wrap all this up by mid next year. So tapering means just not buying.
So why does it matter what the Fed is doing for like the rest of the world, for Korea, for instance? Like, why are we so set on like that?
Because the United States is still the most powerful country in the world, number one. And
thanks, Bruce. Got it.
Okay, to pat the Bank of Korea on its back, it was the first central bank in a developed country to raise their interest rate this past August, right? So they had a clue. They knew what was going on. It was only recently that the U.S. Federal Reserve Governor, Mr. Powell, said inflation wasn't transitory or temporary. So Korea was ahead of the curve.
When they were throwing around the I word in like hushed tones,
That's
like,
right.
oh, this is a temporary thing.
Right.
But I guess the Bank of Korea knew, right?
Well, if you go out and buy milk or eggs or cucumbers, you know it's not. a temporary thing.
Cucumbers. What is it, like 100-something% raise or something?
It's like something like that.
So expensive
It's like
now.
unaffordable.
No wonder I haven't had a cucumber in like
I know.
months.
Isaac, don't knock
I love cucumbers.
And
I
look
love
at me.
cucumbers.
I'm trimmed now because I've been eating cucumbers.
Oh, I
all
love
summer.
cucumbers too, man. I do.
That's why you don't see
I
them
just-
at home anymore.
Yeah, I was wondering why. I just figured, out of season, it's
me.
cold.
No, it's
Cucumbers
me.
turn to ice or something,
No, it's me. I've been eating it. That's why I'm so
Hey.
svelte now.
Nice.
Now that we've established that all the cucumbers are gone because of Bruce, of course we joke, but we want to move on to the next segment because inflation has to do with the economy. Like, it's such a big part. And of course, tapering, you told us how it will affect inflation. And right now,
What's happening, Nari?
I'm sorry. No, I was just thinking about this cucumber still. Yes, if you have just tuned in, you are listening to Why Not Money with Lina, Isaac, Nari, and Bruce. Bruce, tell us what's coming up next.
We're going to talk about inflation infamy.
It's the station to listen to.
Arirang Radio.
Inflation's been making headlines around the world, and though prices have been rising in Korea too, the country's finance minister says he'll work to keep it at around 2% and will not let Korea fall into stagflation, meaning inflation combined.
The policymakers also signaled a strong likelihood of interest hikes coming next year, which would be the first since the Fed slashed short-term borrowing costs to near zero in March 2020.
U.S. inflation has hit a figure that hasn't been seen for 40 years. The country's labor statistics released on Friday show that inflation rose 6.8% in November on year. The impact is likely to be more critical to those on lower incomes, with soaring prices across food, gas, and housing. Significantly, November's gasoline prices rose more than 50%.
All right, I think the obvious question that I will probably ask, since I am not very econ savvy, what is the easiest way you can define inflation?
Okay, so great question. What is inflation? Basically, it means a lot of money chasing stuff to buy, which drives up the prices. Okay, so high inflation can be the result of a hot economy, right? One in which people have a lot of surplus cash or accepting a lot of credit and want to spend. And there's also inflation because of high oil prices, okay? I don't drive, but my wife complains about it all the time. And also bottleneck in supply chain, which keeps goods in short supply, which also drives up the prices. Now, Jerome Powell, okay, he's not the most savvy central banking head that I've seen in a long time. He made a huge mistake just a couple of months ago saying that inflation was transitory. Transitory means temporary, right? We all realized that was not true. Now, fortunately, he made a quick turnaround and he said it is not, and that the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates probably at least 3 times next year, okay? Now, I don't know how he missed it. In the U.S., inflation is now 6.8%, as we just heard, as of November. That's the fastest increase since 1982.
Wow.
In Korea, it's high also. For Korea, it's around 3.7%. This means that the Bank of Korea, Korea Central Bank, will also raise interest rates next year. And as I mentioned earlier, Korea was the first developed country to raise interest rates this summer. So credit,
Credit where it's due.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because you said you don't know how you missed it. I wonder, do you think he lied?
No.
No?
He didn't lie. So
Okay.
there's always different camps.
Because, like, I don't know, I'm suspicious. Like,
Right.
how, if he's, at that position, how could he
Miss
not,
it?
how could he not know
Yeah.
or at least run the models, I would imagine, like, of all the possibilities. But
Right.
at least he fixed it quickly, right? He
Right.
kind of turned around and pivoted. But
No, I don't think he
Okay.
lied. There's lots of really smart people, analysts, and you have different views, right? Like if you think X stock will go down, I might think it won't go down.
Yeah.
So we have different views, but the numbers are just too strong. You just
Gotcha.
cannot dismiss it anymore,
Okay.
right? So for Eurozone, let's stop talking about Korea and the United States for the time being. So
Okay.
for the Eurozone, inflation is above 3%. And let's talk about emerging markets. One of my favorite countries in emerging market land is Brazil. And Brazil is 9%. Okay, that's a lot. And I'm not going to
Wow.
reveal my age by telling you when Brazil's monthly inflation rate was like 20 to 30%. This is a
Wow.
long time ago. It's true.
seriously.
Seriously. So what causes inflation?
Right.
Okay, a few things. Number one, oil price, right? So most oil analysts are expecting oil price to rise to $90 to $100 a barrel next year. There's a supply, and demand issue. Second, everyone knows this, supply chain problems, okay? There's a lot of demand, but difficult to transport, so everything becomes more expensive, right? And then what I mentioned earlier, in the U.S., there's increased demand because there's a lot of money because the government gave out a huge stimulus package, $1.9 trillion of relief last year.
Right.
I wish I got some of that, but I didn't. So 20% of U.S. dollars in circulation in 2020 was created that year. That's huge. That's humongous. But emerging markets, we have to be sympathetic. Emerging markets have it far worse. Extreme weather has led to crop shortages, okay, and making food more expensive. Many poor people cannot put staple food on the table. So what's staple food? For Asians, it's rice.
Right.
For them, it's rice also, but bread and cheese, right? So for poor people, food and fuel are the large parts of their expenditure. So going back to Brazil again as an example, their staple foods are black-eyed beans and up 40%, soybean oil 68%, cabbage price up 76%. But
It's severe.
Wow. Okay, you guys look scared. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax.
I can't. I mean, those are staggering numbers.
Yeah, but no need to panic. Interest rate hikes in general are not something to be overly concerned about as long as it's done in an orderly fashion. And so that's what the Federal Reserve Bank is doing. That's what Bank of Korea is doing too, right? They're signaling to the market that we're going to do this. We're going to take care of
Hike
this.
the interest rates,
That's
right?
right.
And they're going to
Little
slowly
by little.
get
Yeah.
there.
That's right. So we'll probably have a few next year and then a few after that in 2023, right? Now, when you look at past interest rate hikes, stocks more than often tended to go higher for the 1 year after the first interest rates hikes, right? But one thing that we also have to talk about when we talk about inflation is the opposite, deflation. Right? So what's
Wait, how is that different from disinflation?
What?
What's this?
Did you just
Disinformation?
Disinformation.
Oh no!
No,
I was
disinflation?
reading an article and it said there was a term disinflation, and I was like, I don't even think that's like.
Are
a
they
real
coining
word.
new terms now?
It could be.
I don't know.
They're mining.
I'll look into
they're
it.
mining
Yeah.
for
Bruce,
terms
go
now.
to your catchphrase.
Yes.
I know another term. Flag station.
Stagflation.
Blah, blah, blah. Something with a stagnate.
Okay.
Something. Is that what?
Stagflation.
Everyone calm down, Bruce. That's
Let's
what
look
say.
up new words.
So, Nari, I don't know. So if I don't know, it's not important. Don't forget.
Mic drop.
I love it.
Okay.
Got it.
So
Simple answer.
That's right.
what's deflation? Simple definition. It's the general decline of the price level of goods and services. Prices are going down. Okay, so deflation is a sign of a weakening economy, right? And economists fear deflation because falling prices lead to lower consumer spending. And that's a major component of economic growth. Like in the U.S., like 35% of economic growth comes from consumer spending. I don't think they have to worry about that now, right? So companies respond to falling prices by they slow down production.
Yeah.
Okay? And that leads to layoffs and salary reductions, right?
It's a vicious cycle.
It is. Japan is still going through it.
Yeah.
So Japan's inflation rate, I think the recent numbers are like minus 0.7%. So they don't have to worry about inflation. Right? And then stagflation, right? That is a perfect storm of a few things coming together at the same time. Slow economic growth, high inflation, and high unemployment. I don't think we have to worry about that for the time being, but businesses hate stagflation because it means they have to lay off employees to save money, which in turn decreases the purchasing power of consumers, which means less consumer spending and even slower economic growth. So stagflation is another fear that comes up when inflation is high in a period of slow economic growth. But I haven't met anyone who fears stagflation at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll change going forward, but at this point, I haven't met anyone.
Okay.
So then is deflation the number one fear of like maybe
Any
what's
market
coming
watchers?
next?
I have not heard anyone worrying about deflation at this
Not yet?
point.
Okay.
Not yet.
Oh.
Is that because economic growth outlook in the coming year is a little bit more promising?
Yes, like for Korea, they're expecting 3.1% growth.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting because inflation in turn tells me that maybe people won't be spending as much, but that's not the case, right? Going to next year, we're actually expecting people to spend more despite inflation.
Right. So the thing that really concerns me is that Koreans, especially, they borrowed a lot of money to buy flats, apartments, right? Their homes. And so Korea's consumer debt ratio is one of the highest in the world, as you know. So the thing that concerns me is that if interest rates rise, 75% of the mortgage loans that they took out are linked to floating rate notes. So what that means is when the inflation rises, the amount of money that they'll be paying each month will rise with it, will increase with it. And so that's one of my concerns too,
But can't you choose whether you want a floating or fixed rate?
Good question. But I think because interest rates have been so low for such a long time, right? They thought, rates aren't going to go up.
Oh, so they went with floating.
That's right,
Okay.
floating rate note. And at the time when they chose between floating and fixed, the number for the floating rate note was much lower than fixed rate.
Oh,
That's
I
why.
see.
What's safer? Just on a general, just generally, you should always go with just like a fixed rate, right? Because you never know what happens.
No, I think it depends. I think it doesn't. You don't have to have a PhD in economics from Berkeley or MIT. Just read the newspapers. Keep your eyes open. So if you think there's going to be the economy's not good, there's a lot of crisis. There's problems like COVID or now Omicron. If you think that interest rate's going to be low, go for floating rate note because you could always refinance, right? The fixed rate later.
Oh, okay.
So is that a possible solution right now for all those people with the household debt in a floating rate mortgage?
Right.
Can they refinance? Are the banks are going to?
Well, that's a good question. The banks are sort of getting credit savvy now towards retail, and also when, as you know, if someone yells fire in the cinema, in America it's movie theater, they all rush for the exit. Then people are going to trample, right? So I don't know. So I think maybe if you're going to do it, you should do it before everyone decides to do it together.
Is that a recommendation that you do it earlier than?
That's a good tip.
I don't own a home. I'm poor, so I'm the wrong person to ask.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so so I have a question. The interest rates. So if the interest rates, if they are nice and easy, a very nice slope, a very gradual slope, that's okay. But right now we're worried about like this quickening hike, right? What if it happens, like everything happens just too fast? What if it goes up too fast? And this term, greenflation.
What?
What is happening?
Okay, this is a real term that I did read about on Yana before our show, and it's what people are worried about. It's about the sudden shortages of supplies that are needed for a greener economy. Like we're trying to go towards a greener economy,
right.
But in order to do so, the things that we need,
like natural resources,
everything's in short supply.
So it's basically supply chain
stuff for like clean energy.
Right, supply issues specific to the green economy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very specific
Don't
term.
say it, Bruce. Don't give me your catchphrase.
No. I think.
Hey, Bruce doesn't know.
If I don't know.
It's not important. Clean energy is important.
It's important. No, that's very important. ESG is the catchphrase for this year.
Oh, yeah.
But that's more, it's like metaverse. Right? In other words, it's something for the future. It's something that you have to work towards. Right? We're
trying.
People will still rely on fossil fuels for the time being.
Right. And we're still transitioning, right? And so maybe that sense of urgency doesn't strike until a few years from now.
Right.
Yeah. But still, it's still part of the like inflation pressure, What do you think are some other, besides the gas, the oil prices, what are some other like inflationary pressures going on?
As I mentioned earlier, food, supply chain
The
issues,
bottlenecks, right?
Bottlenecks, too much money circulating in the market.
Labor shortage, do you think that also affects inflation?
I don't think there's labor shortage right now. Right? And I think what's interesting right now is that maybe you guys know because you're a little bit younger than me. People are quitting supposedly because they're looking for a work-life balance. I come from a generation there is no work-life balance. Right? We don't take paternity leave.
I feel like we can put a meme in here too. Okay, boomer, right?
I'm at the tail end of baby boomer. I am. Look at the way I'm dressed. Look at this. Blazer, blue shirt, khakis. Come on. This
I have a blazer on.
Look at Isaac. I got to dress like Isaac. He's dressed cool. Black jeans, black jacket.
Yeah. Bonus points for you, Isaac.
That's right.
I'm married up. My wife
according to age?
Oh, no, we don't do that. Okay. No.
No ageism, please.
Never.
All right, guys, should we take a short breather and then come back and continue on this conversation? Because there is, I guess, bigger questions that potential investors might be interested in. Like, what's really moving markets?
Yeah.
Where are we headed? Major loaded questions like that. We've got more coming up right here on Why Not Talk About Money with Lina, Isaac, Nari, and Bruce.
Download the Arirang Radio app on your device for free.
It's Arirang. ARIRANG Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Arirang Radio's pilot, Why Not Money? We're talking about what's moving markets next because I think this is a loaded set of questions because we're talking about ways of expanding our investment portfolios because this is the future in the face of inflation. What else do you do but to diversify your portfolio and hope that you make passive income along the way? All right. To start things off, Bruce, we have to talk about, I want to say, second biggest market in the world.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about China, why it matters.
Okay. First of all, 你好,你好.
你好.
你好吗?
我们是韩国人. Okay, anyway, that's all I know. That's it. I can't wait until Lunar New Year or Chinese New Year so I can say Kung Hei Fa Choi. That's Cantonese, by the way. 공시 공시. Okay, putonghwa.
It's pretty good.
Now, thank you. So, China. China matters because China matters. Like Nina, you said, it's the second largest economy in the world, right? And now it's getting more interesting because it's now in a Cold War, whether we like to admit it or not, with the U.S. and its allies. And America is putting a lot of pressure on Korea to join the Quad. Quad is an alliance between Japan, U.S., India, and Australia. And right now, America is putting a diplomatic boycott on the Beijing Olympics, which I don't think that's cool, man. You know, Olympics are Olympics.
The Olympics are a separate issue.
Yeah. But Korea wisely said, no, we're going to go.
Right.
You know, Korea exports a lot of semiconductor chips, right? If you look at their exports, right, 75% of their chips go to China. So they have to take China very seriously, and it's a balancing act, right?
Is that right? 75%?
It's more than 50%. It's more than 50%, right? So you have to be very careful about that. The government has to be. So they're doing a really good balancing job right now. So I don't know who's going to be the next president, but he's going to have to do the same thing next year.
The balancing act between the U.S. and China tensions.
That's right. So a lot of people are saying, you got to join the Quad, right? Then you have to change the name of the Quad. What do you call it?
The penthouse.
The pent isn't cool. The Quad is cool.
The penta here.
No, pent is cool. I know, it's not cool. Quad is cool. Okay.
Instead of the Pentagon, the penta here.
Oh dear.
Quad doesn't sound good. Anyway,
Quad plus one.
Exactly. So
we'll go with that.
Quad plus.
Now let's look at Chinese stocks.
Okay.
So early this year, Chinese internet stocks started the year on a really positive note, positive foot, but have since become the world's worst investments this year, 2021. They lost more than 33% of their value since the beginning of this year. Now, when Chinese tech stocks started tanking this summer, if you remember, Korean tech stocks fell with it, right? I won't mention any names, but everyone will know. And so the one obvious thing is to look for is the regulatory pressure to stop. The reason for the bear market in China now is due to regulatory intervention. But I also say, don't hold your breath for this to stop. Now, there are two reasons, two scenarios, actually, in my opinion. The most optimistic scenario is that this is happening for the 20th Communist Party Congress in October or November next year. Now, we don't like to use the C word, right? Or the S word, socialism, but basically it's power politics. And specifically is to make sure Xi Jinping, the president of China, he has enough power to be reappointed to a third term as the president of the Communist Party.
Right.
Then after that, things hopefully will go back to normal. And Chinese tech companies like Jack Ma of Alibaba, he made huge faux pas. He was basically putting down Chinese government officials and the government and their intervention, regulation in front of Chinese government officials at seminars.
And then quickly he did a 180 when he
he got everything taken away from him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not so quickly, but
relative terms. And I think that was just a fresh reminder for anyone tuning in from a democratic society, saying Chinese market is a little different. They play by their own rules.
It's very.
It's they have rules now?
Well, they have their rules.
Yeah,
we just don't know what the rules are.
They have their rules. They're not Western rules, but they have their own rules and they have their own logic. So, anyways, the other part of the story is that China is becoming more paternalistic. Okay, so the state wants a much bigger control of the economy, and I've heard the analogy of the Rhine River.
What was it before that it is now just turning paternalistic?
What happened was they needed to, 20 years ago, no one knew anything about the internet. Right? So people like Jack Ma and other people were running around, and Chinese government officials, they have some very smart people there. They said, we don't know what this is. Let's let them do this. Let's give them money. Then you had companies like Alibaba, Tencent, all these companies getting more powerful.
With government subsidies, too.
Yes. In China, you cannot be number one. The government is number one.
Right.
Always. The party is number one.
There's your rule.
Okay. Now makes sense.
So,
just so you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you have to know your place. And these guys, they forgot their position in the hierarchy, right, in the food chain. So they were basically just talking too much, I think, and putting down the group that supported them, right? So now they're becoming more paternalistic.
Okay, got it.
So what does that mean? Let's look at the German Rhine River model, right? Rhine River, Germany, right? In other words, like the German model, there's going to be more government ownership and intervention. And so they're going to be focusing on more boring stuff like, engineering, building roads, infrastructure. Oh, so boring. And they're going to walk away from, focusing on the glitzy consumer things to fritter away your time on smartphones. I want to ask Isaac, is it really is it fun, like the smartphone and this?
I like how he's singling you out.
Yeah, I love my smartphone.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I hate is when I don't drive, so when I take the subway or the bus and I look at the person next to me and these old people playing these video games.
Why does that bother you, Bruce?
Bother you?
Interesting.
You should read a book. No, I'm serious. Read a book. Listen to
how retro.
Listen to Arirang
how analog.
Yeah, listen to a podcast.
Listen to podcasts.
You could do both. You could be listening to a podcast and play the games.
Is it just the games?
How do you do that? How do you do that? How can you turn it on and listen to that?
You can
really?
do it, yeah.
You have to teach me. I don't know how to do that. So there's a lot of interesting things going on in China. But take China seriously. Take the power politics between the U.S. and China very seriously. It's really serious. So if you look at the Chinese companies that have listed in NASDAQ, they're delisting and going back to Hong Kong and Shanghai. And Richard Lee, he's the chairman of Chung Kong Holdings, one of the most, it's like the Samsung Electronics of Hong Kong. His father is very famous, Mr. Lee Ka-shing. He decided not to list this company, one of his companies, in the U.S. He just decided a few days ago. They're probably going to list first quarter next year in Hong Kong.
Is this a new company or his current?
It's not Chung Kong. It's a company it's like a startup that
was going to IPO.
They were going to IPO in the U.S. But they said no more. So that's the trend now.
Interesting.
That's the trend now.
And that's a strategy to list in Hong Kong?
Yes, they decided.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a matter of timing. Sometime first quarter.
All right.
I have a question about the optimistic scenario that you mentioned.
Yes.
How does this economy slowing down, or how does this intervention really help, the president get his third term?
I don't think it has to do with economy for that. I think it has to show control of the media and the technology companies to show that you're still in control.
Oh, okay. So it's like to show that he's the boss.
It's power. It's power politics.
Okay. Even if it means like, the economy right now with all the stock market, the tech stocks going down, the real estate bubble, all this stuff that's kind of linked to QE and inflation and all these things.
It's power politics.
It's
Machiavellian, real politic. Yeah.
Damn.
So I think it's better to take a short-term hit from their point of view for medium-term, long-term control of the situation.
Interesting. Brutal. Sounds brutal.
It does, huh?
I would actually like to know, since we have been talking about stocks, and what are the promising sectors that because Bruce has got some tips. We talked to him a little bit before the podcast, and he had a bit of knowledge for us regarding, stocks.
Okay, so these are my personal opinions. This is not Arirang Radio's views or any of the people here. So just personal.
NFA, not financial advice.
I am not a financial advisor either. I don't do retail. Okay. So most important thing, don't buy bonds for the time being. No, don't buy bonds. Rates are going up.
Done.
Okay. Focus on...
I know. I got to take notes.
Don't even know what they are. Check.
No bonds.
Young people should not buy bonds anymore.
But what about existing bonds? Do I then just pull out?
It depends when it depends on when you bought it. Right? It depends on the tenor, the duration, that type of thing.
Right.
Coupon. HODL. Yeah. So whether you bought treasuries or corporate bonds.
Right.
So focus on stocks. And so don't be a genius and try to time the market.
Done.
I'm a firm believer in buying every month. On your payday, make the money go out and buy funds or index funds or whatever stocks you're looking to buy. But I think you need to start buying now for the future. I know so many really, really smart people. Maybe some of them are listening now. I berate them. Is that a big word, berate? I berate them for just having cash, okay? And remember, people, cash is trash. Cash is trash.
Cash is trash.
All right. So if you have trash that you need, you can send it to me. My bank account
also
number
take trash.
This is so funny.
Give me crypto. I'll take digital, okay? Oh, man.
Oh, crypto.
You guys are old. Cash. What are you talking about? Let's go digital. So I think what you should do is you got to look around and you got to see what's out there. You don't have to be a genius, okay?
He keeps on saying that you don't have to be a genius, but this is like one of the most terrifying things for a first-time investor.
Exactly.
You want to invest, but where do you start?
Nari, for the first-time investor, if you're really scared, buy index funds. Right? You could buy the stuff here in Korea, or you could buy S&P 500 index funds. Index funds move with the market, so you make no decision. And the amount of money that you pay is really small, and the management fee is like 0.03%.
But this goes against your be brave, be bold tip
approach.
Before you can be brave and bold, you have to become familiar, right? So familiarity does not breed contempt. It's the complete opposite. It makes you feel a little bit better.
Okay, so this is like warming getting your feet wet with index funds.
Date before you ask your partner to get engaged.
Date before marriage.
Date before getting engaged.
Okay.
Right. So be vigilant and connect the dots. Right?
Get the phone number before the date.
Phone
what?
Number. Phone number.
What is this metaphor?
Phone number.
Is that the right process?
I don't know.
Get the phone number? Is that like get the right information? So
you text now.
X, I think you're older than me. I think you dress cooler than me, but you're older than me, man.
He's an old soul.
Yeah, okay, all right. So one sector that I really like, EV battery makers.
Ooh.
EV battery makers. Now, you're gonna go Tesla. And I'm gonna go, all right, if you bought it early this year or last year. But the stock price has gone up, I don't know how many folds, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how Tesla's going to do going forward. I don't know how much more it's going to go up. Elon Musk is a genius. I admit it. Okay, I missed that trade too because I thought he was weird. Like he was smoking stuff during the radio interview.
I told you.
It can be both.
So what I like to recommend are companies that supply batteries to Tesla and companies like Tesla. And Korea's homegrown companies. Excellent, among top 5 globally. Okay?
Yeah, domestic.
Yeah, so this company has not gone public yet. It used to be part of LG Chemical, but they're going to spin off first quarter next year. LG Energy Solution, okay? And then Samsung SDI. They're among the top 5-6 EV battery makers in the world, right? And they're aggressively building factories in the United States, good politically as well. So LG has tied up with GM, General Motors, Samsung with Ford. And LG, they're already starting building their third factory in the United States, Tennessee, I think. They love Tennessee for some reason. And I think with continuing U.S. and China trade tensions, I think Korean battery makers will be able to sell more batteries. Okay? And another thing that you have to keep in mind is that California, right? We've all been, Isaac, you went to school there, UCLA, right?
Yeah, I'm from Cali.
So last year, Southern Cali or
Southern Cali, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You look like a Northern Cali guy.
I'm a Northern Cali.
Really?
Yeah.
She looks posh. She's from Northern Cali. Okay. So, Southern California state government said starting from 2025, no more gas cars.
Right.
We're only
saw
selling
that.
EV cars, right? And please keep in mind, California, if they become independent, if they secede from the union, right? If they secede, they'll be the 7th wealthiest country in the world.
Yeah.
That's big. Korea is number 11, number 11, number 12. So to put that in perspective.
Just one state. Yeah.
Yeah, just one state. And I'm sure that other states will follow. That's the trend right now. Going back to what NARI said earlier about ESG and climate and being a good citizen, that type of thing.
Whatever the case, I mean, these are solid tips that, come from Bruce and Bruce himself. However, we can't kind of talk about this stocks, right, without talking about cryptocurrency.
That's right.
We started kind of on cryptocurrency, and I feel like it's fitting to end on it, I guess.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's not say crypto. Let's say digital assets.
Sure.
Crypto sounds weird, like something from the crypt, something from the grave.
Cryptic.
Yeah. Cryptic.
So cryptic.
Right? So cryptic, right?
A lot of Bruceisms today
I was gonna
that I kind of love.
I do too.
Erudite, baby. Anyway, so isn't it funny how all the doomsayers, naysayers are old men? They always say it's going to die. It's nothing. It's going to go to zero. And as you know, Koreans, especially younger Koreans, or those young at heart, like Isaac, have been quite active players in digital currency. A lot of people don't notice, but like globally, 25% of various digital currency exchanges are in Korea. A lot of people don't know that, but Korea is big. So people outside listening to this should look at Korea. Korea leads in many sectors, not just technology, but also in digital assets. So I think digital currency will keep its role as a safe haven. And that probably means it can go higher because its market capitalization is still only a fraction of what gold is. And I have no idea what the equilibrium price is. I have no idea. So I can't tell you how high it will go. But if you talk about Bitcoin, which everyone loves, right? There's a coin cap on Bitcoin. There's only like 20 million coins that have been mined. And I think investors have already mined like 18 million. So there's a limit. That's why prices are going up, right? Because limited supply. So you may want to look at a little bit less popular, but still established coins like Ethereum. Okay, Dogecoin, Dogcoin. I have no idea.
To the moon.
Yeah, I have no idea. And so, but I think that it's safe to say that with all the noise and controversy, obscure the rise of the digital asset ecosystem in general. I know people like to use that ecosystem, right? I'm really convinced that DeFi, just decentralized finance, that means banks with digital capital can take deposits and make loans, but have no employees. That's the future. And you can see that now in Korea. In Korean commercial banks, they're closing down a lot of branches. They're hiring a lot of fintech guys, computing guys, algorithm guys. If you want a job now, if you work, I'm not going to mention the major U.S. Wall Street banks. They're kids right out of college, computer science.
Everyone's going into fintech.
Yeah. $300,000 to $500,000 starting packages at age 22, 23. And you could dress like Isaac. Wow. You don't dress like me, right? And so that's really important. And I think that's real. So how it will develop and how it'll be regulated are huge mysteries. In fact, if you want more institutional investors to go cryptocurrency long, digital assets, you need more regulations actually to keep people feel safe. You have to do a fiduciary duty.
That's one of the biggest problems. People don't feel like it's safe. Yeah.
That's why what I always say is stick to the big name coins like Bitcoin or Ethereum or some of the more famous ones. There are 16,000 different listed coins out there globally. And I'll talk about that in 1 second. But now, how it's going to be regulated, again, it's a mystery, but digital assets are going to be a serious disruptor of traditional asset classes. So I think that investors, all of us, to follow the market and to feel a little bit safe, I think we should buy a little bit of it. Not go 100% in, but maybe anywhere from 0.5% to 5%, depending on your risk appetite of your portfolio. Okay. Again, stick with the big names where you could safeguard it and trade it and make sure that you're not going to
date before getting engaged.
But didn't the Korean government also say that they're going to start, taxing, for Bitcoin earnings? I mean, isn't that kind of a major?
There was a lot of talk about that this summer.
Where there's a lot of back and forth.
Has there been an update?
I think it's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
As you know, this is very new.
It's very new.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do it like China did. China said no digital assets, right? They just
no mining, no nothing.
It didn't really affect the market, right? It dipped, but then went back up again. So, and this is I have concerns though. Okay, a recent survey in the UK revealed that almost half of respondents between 18 and 29 they chose digital assets as their first ever investment, which is fine. That's cool. And a number of these transactions, however, were made using credit cards, student loans, or they just took out.
Okay, going to debt to buy.
That's
these.
right.
Right.
That's not
Right.
good.
That's not good.
So more than half the respondents, they invested in either Bitcoin or Dogecoin or Dogcoin, and they funded their.
Because of
I'm
Elon.
joking. I know.
The genius.
I'm just jealous. He's the richest. He can take it. They funded their investment with debt. Now the IMF is concerned too. They did their annual global financial stability report, and they said that there's more than 16,000 tokens that have been listed worldwide, but only 9,000 remain today. Okay, and for the other 7,000,
that's like in a matter of what, months,
years, a few years, several years.
Okay.
Now, out of these 7,000, right, some developers simply just walked away, right? Other tokens they just don't trade. People lost interest. Or some were just scams.
Yeah.
Outright scams.
The BTS coin.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I heard about the Squid Game coin.
The BTS coin was very quickly dethroned as illegitimate.
Right. Oh, wow. But what I want to say is I think it's a real asset class. It's gone over into the retail sector. And digital currency is not going away. And this year, 2021, VCs, venture capitalists, they invested $30 billion in cryptocurrency digital asset startups. That's a lot of money. So VC is smart money. You could disagree, but they're usually ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree with you. It's just there is so much caution when it comes to just
and with all the news,
assets.
especially in Korea, right? With what they said, are they going to follow China? Are they going to do this, or are they going to start taxing? And a lot of questions. I
think it's going to be on the back burner because we have presidential elections coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you want to be president, I don't think you're going to sit around talking about how we're going to tax Bitcoin holders for the time.
It's not a popular issue.
Right? And then we have inflation problems. We need to grow the economy by 3.1%.
And we're going to tax you is probably not a way for a popular vote. Don't you think?
Yeah. No, it isn't. I agree.
I can't believe we ran out of time.
Oh, really?
We did, but I do want to ask you, so compared to, just in your own personal opinion, Bruce, so compared to other big financial crises moments, how do you think we fared just overall? And when I say we, I mean maybe Korea, with the whole pandemic and everything going on. How are we doing compared to previous years and previous crises?
Right. So the first crisis that maybe most of you are familiar with in 1998, for the listeners out there, for those who don't know Korea, they call it the IMF crisis because, Korea received a $57 billion bailout around this time in 1997 over Christmas. And that just caused huge havoc in Korean society, turned it upside down. A lot of sad things happened. A lot of people lost jobs, right? But Korea quickly paid back that a few years later. And a lot of people were really impressed by what Koreans did. They said, Koreans lined up to give gold rings and things like that, jewelry to the government. I said, yeah. They said, you guys wouldn't do that? I said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it. Right? So that shows you Korea's really positive quality. Caring for the nation, the country's
society.
That's right.
As a whole.
So I saw in 1998 in September, the Kospi plummet to 220 points. Hard to imagine now.
Yeah.
It's like 3,000 now, right?
Yeah.
So all you needed to do back then was buy a couple of stocks and you'd be really rich right now. And the exchange rate, it went up to like 2,000 to $1, $1.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
You remember that?
Yep.
You could stay at 5-star hotels for $100 a night. So it was a really, really bad time. Then if we fast forward like 10 years to the global financial crisis when the subprime, American real estate,
2008?
2008. Okay. Right? Korea took a hit. But one good thing was that Korean institutions, investors didn't really have a lot of exposure to subprime, CDOs, fortunately, right? So Korea was able to get through that. So the big thing last year was when the market plummeted in March because of COVID. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, this is another financial crisis like that in 2008 and 1998." Actually, my first appearance on Arirang was on the broadcasting side to talk about this.
I'm sorry, do you mean Arirang?
Oh, Arirang, sorry. I was trying to westernize it. Arirang, right?
I'm just kidding.
So what I said was, it's not a financial crisis. It's just a crisis in confidence. And it was proven right. I said, you should go in and buy stocks. And 1 month later, the stock
jumped up.
And it went up 30-some%.
Yeah, I heard about this. So he came out and he made some predictions and they all came true.
So is this all lining up to you ask about next year's predictions?
No. I just wanted to see like what he thought about how we're doing. Just just generally as a country.
So Korea, I think, was a leader in terms of contact tracing, in terms of testing.
Yep.
I've never heard U.S. government officials talking so much about Korea. They would always say, like what Korea did, like what the Moon administration did. So, big applause to the Korean government. Obviously, we have to keep this up. We have to worry about Omicron, people getting vaccinated, people wearing masks, being more considerate. And my heart really goes out to the mom and pop store owners.
Yeah,
So I really don't know what to do. I mean, boy, they're in a lot of pain. So we need to help them out. I don't know how. So it's easy to criticize the government, but I think that you have to be empathetic and sympathetic to everyone involved. But overall, I think Korea and Koreans have done just a fantastic job. Right?
Yes.
That's for the first time in a long time a positive feedback I got about it, because we are really quick to make criticisms about where we fell short, and that's what news programs are designed to do. But this is really refreshing, Bruce.
And this is really important. Koreans are really good at circling the wagon. That's the old Western movie term. When we're in trouble, we do well when we're in a crisis. And we just need to maintain that once we get out of it. But so in a crisis mode, that's when you see the best of Korea and best of Koreans. That's something that the outside world can look towards Korea for leads, for example, for hope.
Like I would love to just wrap it on that really positive note. Thank you, Bruce, for being here with us.
Not at all. It was my pleasure. I hope that we can do this again sometime next year. This is a pilot. And I would love to we could talk about Blackpink and Mamamoo next time if you want. But thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's been great fun. I learned so much. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Happy holidays.
Yes, and that means we are done with our 4 episodes of the pilot. Why not talk about blank? For now, at least, happy holidays from all of us here. I'm Nari.
I'm Lena.
And I'm Isaac.
And I'm Bruce. Money, money, money.
Money. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Goodbye for now, everyone.